Thank you so much, everyone. In a matter of weeks, the different political parties will conduct primaries within their ranks to determine their party flag bearers in the Edo and Ondo governorship election race. Well, the ruling APC will be under some kind of pressure as it has suffered some loss already in the courtrooms in some of the Supreme Court judgments, and now they would like to also pull some weight when the elections approach. Well, some of these issues are internal, and some of these issues they will face when they go to the field to contest against other political parties. They're already making plans, and they're already deciding how they will conduct the internal elections. Tonight, let's speak with a party spokesperson, Mr. Felix Moka, who joins us live from our Lagos studio. Thank you so much, Mr. Moka, for joining us tonight. Mr. Moka, I guess you can hear me now. Oh, great. Good to see you. Let's begin the conversation. First and foremost, let's get clarification from you. Your party has announced the modalities which is going to conduct its primaries, which you said is going to be through direct primary. Is it going to be the same in Ondo and Edo?
For now, Sheon, we have decided on the mode of primaries for Edo State. Now, Ondo State is still a bit far ahead. We have not rolled out our timetable for that yet. But for Edo State, just last Monday, the National Working Committee of our party hosted all of the stakeholders in the upcoming Edo election as far as our party is concerned. And at that meeting, it was discussed, both the direct and the indirect modes were discussed, and the majority of the stakeholders expressed preference for the direct mode of primaries. So that meeting resolved that the direct mode of primaries will be adopted for the upcoming primary in Edo State.
But I mean, how did the party get to the decision of deciding on the mode of primary for Edo using the direct mode?
Now, look, under our constitution, both the direct and indirect modes are recognized as legal and legitimate modes for the conduct of primaries. So meaning that the party can use either one of them. But because our party is very consultative in the way we do business, we had that meeting to gauge the preference, if you will, of the stakeholders in Edo State. And as I said, at the end of that meeting, it was clear that the majority of those who were at the meeting expressed a preference for the direct mode of primaries. So because it's already constitutionally provided as far as our constitution is concerned, it wasn't a problem to make that decision, as it were.
So give us an understanding, because we know that there are other conditions that we understand that are going to be attached to that primaries, conditions for aspirants to sign that they will not go to court. Is it true? And why would your party try to, in any case, try to get some commitment from the members or the aspirant not to go to court, even if they feel aggrieved?
No, Sheon. If you recall, in 2022, when we had the primaries for the 2023 general election, that issue also came up. Yes, it is true at that time that there was this form which was included in the nomination package that actually just merely required aspirants to fill out a form saying that they will exhaust or use internal mechanisms to resolve whatever disputes may arise during or after the primaries. But again, you will recall that at that time I did, in my public representations, I did make it clear that the party was not requiring that undertaking as a matter of obligation, and that those who wish to give it would give it, and those who didn't care should just discard it. And of course, many discarded it, which is fine. I'm a lawyer and I understand the premise of your question. So in this season, the party is not imposing any obligation on any aspirant in Edo State. And I hope also in Ondo State and going forward to make such undertaking. So I don't think it's a concern now, the party. Even yesterday, I think I did also speak on this issue and clarify that the party is not insisting that our aspirants fill out this form, even though, as I said, back in 2022, it was an issue and we did lay that to rest at that time.
I mean, as it is right now, you said you have not decided on whether or not Ondo will have the same treatment as Edo governorship primaries. But can you tell us how many people have obtained the nomination and show of interest forms?
You mean with respect to Edo State? Now, the last I checked...
With respect to Edo State?
Yes, with the last I checked, we had just one aspirant who had purchased nomination and expression of interest forms. Now, I know that several of them, and many of them who have expressed interest in running, we're waiting for, some of these conversations, to occur, to happen with the party, and then to go forward. So in the coming days, I think we're going to see more of the aspirants step up to, purchase their forms as required.
Is there any consideration for zoning? Because this is a major issue. And are those who say it will affect whatever decision any of the political parties come up with. For example, the conversation and the scenario playing out on the ground as to which of the senatorial district is left out in the number of years that they've governed the state. And there are those who say, look, whichever political parties come up with a zoning arrangement or candidate that come from a particular zone, without consideration of the larger interests of the people of Edo State, we suffer at the election. Why does the APC think zoning is not a consideration?
Look, we have not ruled out anything, but as of today, Shehu, we have not decided on any zoning arrangement for the Edo State election. But also keep in mind that zoning, in any event, is quite frankly, it's a persuasive mechanism by the party to try to, achieve some, equity, equity and distribution and fairness, quite frankly, in representation amongst constituent, districts of states or even of the country. It is not something that the party can decide with, a hammer and say, people from other districts must not run. We can't do that, because if you do that, that also raises constitutional questions as to whether or not you can actually, by fiat, exclude anyone who has an interest and who is able to run and who is, who meets the, criteria to run, to actually prevent them from running. So, zoning is always a delicate issue. But in the case of Edo State, at the meeting on last Monday, the issue of zoning was not discussed and was not, no decision has been issued on that. So as I sit here speaking to you, I can, confirm that as of today, there is no zoning decision made with respect to Edo State. Now, will that be made tomorrow? You know what, anything is possible, but I only, worry about, what has been done and not what may come. So, in all of this, there are those who will say, oh, the leader of the APC in Edo State, Adams Oshiomhole, how much of an impact or how much of an influence or his consent has been sought in determining who becomes the flag bearer of the party, because he's probably the leader and the front line person that the party will interface with in the Edo governorship election, isn't it? Yes, I mean, by any standard, His Excellency Oshiomhole is now Senator of the Federal Republic, is a leader par excellence. He was former national chairman of the party, he was executive governor of the state, and now a serving senator. So he is an eminent leader of our party. and leaders, obviously play a role to, guide and offer ideas and wisdom in how these matters are conducted. But, again, at the end of the day, it is the people of Edo State. He is from Edo State. He will have a vote, at the primaries, like every other, party member. And, he will have, of course, a lot of say in, guiding those who come to him to consult. But, Oshomole is also a Democrat who understands, especially having served the party at the highest level and also served the state at the highest level, that democracy requires that the people make their decisions and their choice when it comes to who represents them. So I have no doubt that he understands that and that he will stay within the remit of his role as a leader and allow for the democratic process to take its course in the state.
One will imagine when discussing this zoning matter in the Edo governorship race, the consideration that where the governor will spend now 8 years is from, might be in consideration of those who will say, well, is that other political party and not ours, and so whatever happens there does not concern them. But again, what gives your party the most worry when it comes to Edo governorship race? You had it once, but you lost it.
Yes, we lost it. And, again, that's not, shouldn't be any headline. Democracy is about that. It's about, people and their choices. Today people decide one way and tomorrow they decide a different way. Which is why you can't rest on your record even. You must continue to engage and to inspire confidence and likability. Because ultimately, when people go to the ballot and to cast their vote, they vote, according to whatever they understand to be their own, interest, the way they see it, the way they define it. So yes, we are, of course, very mindful that we had Edo and we lost it, which is why, the meeting last Monday was called to, again, remind everyone involved that, the stakes are high in Edo State. But also, we're also aware that the PDP, administration of Governor Baseki has also, performed, very disgracefully, quite frankly. I mean, all they have done, that, if you open the pages of the papers, what you read more about is the feud between the governor and his deputy, rather than, innovative developmental interventions by the government. So, we're also very confident that the lackluster performance by the ruling PDP in the state today, it again creates a lot of hunger for our party to take the saddle. But, we are not, again, taking that for granted. We are working hard and are prepared to work hard during the campaigns to convince the last voter that, we deserve their support. So we can, again, occupy the government house and do exactly what we promise to do for the state.
In Ondo State, is your party giving the incumbent governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, who there are those who say he has interest in wanting to become governor in the next election? Are you giving him a chance or forced refusal?
Look, so we have not had that discussion, but but again, we're a democratic party, we're a progressive party. We don't give anything to people just for the asking. People, have to justify it and have to earn it. And it is not to us that they have to justify their suitability, or for that matter, their qualification, or any other, criteria. It is to the people of the state who will participate in the primary, either in a direct primary or in an indirect primary. Whatever preferences anyone may have, it is all subject to the decision, the democratic decision of the party members who participate in our primary. In that case, the electorate, with respect to our party in the state. So there's nothing. We don't give free gifts, if you will, in APC. We contest and we compete and we win whatever it is we're able to get in terms of representation.
And so you are not considering Zone Ino in Ondo State?
Again, I cannot preempt.
There's a crucial conversation there.
No, it may be, but you know that I can't preempt what is to come, because we have yet to engage those questions with respect to Ondo State. But if and when we do, and there are reasons to do so, of course we will, again, do so and then inform not just the citizens of Ondo State, but, the entire country, and explain why we took that course. But for today, we have yet to engage that question or make any decisions with respect to Ondo State.
Up to now, the governor hasn't yet appointed or gotten a deputy. You are a lawyer. You know the legal implications of all of these. Is your party worried about it? Is there any consultation in that respect? The governor of Ondo State, clearly understands the imperative of, concluding and, filling up all of the vacancies that exist so that the government can be in the full form that the Constitution has prescribed. That consultation is ongoing. I'm quite sure that that will be resolved, very, very soon, because that vacancy cannot continue to exist for too long. So, but I know that there's a lot of conversation around that subject and will be resolved, in a very short time from now. Let me take you to the issues relating to the Supreme Court judgments and some of the outcome there. Your party has had victory in Plateau, in Kano, but these are victories that the Supreme Court has condemned and criticized. And there are those, and I'm very sure that you perhaps had heard or seen the comment from the former mayor of Kano and the former CBN governor as to the situation around the victory that your party had gotten in the lower court, especially at the appeal court. Does it bother you, especially the fact that in one of the appeal court cases, there are errors in the obiter and in the final judgment of the court, and one will wonder what exactly is going on?
No, Sherwin, there's nothing to wonder. The courts, the tribunal at the High Court did exactly what the tribunal was, constitutionally charged to do. The Court of Appeal did exactly what they were required to do, and the Supreme Court also did, its own bit. Now, Sherwin, look, there shouldn't be anything to, provoke any, too much analysis. There is a reason that the Constitution created a hierarchy of courts. The High Court, the Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court. A High Court with, well, the tribunal is slightly different because it has members, but typically, a High Court has just one judge. The Court of Appeal, probably 3 judges, and the Supreme Court, between 5 to 7 judges. There's a reason for that, because, the law understands that human beings, 2 people may read a certain passage, hear a certain set of facts, and come to different conclusions. So in order to ensure that, whatever errors may occur, assuming there are errors, that they're able to, be filtered through these 3 levels of court, and then a final decision is made by the highest court of the land, which is what happened here. I don't think that if the Supreme Court had upheld the appeal court decision, say in Kano or in Plateau, it would be exactly what it is, that the Supreme Court upheld that decision. So I don't think, it calls for any sort of vilification of the appeal court judges because the Supreme Court has found that, their decision was, unsupportable by their own understanding and analysis. Now, don't forget, the Supreme Court itself is not infallible. The Supreme Court is the final court of our land. It is infallible because it is final. But it's not, infallible because whatever it says is necessarily, the truth, by divine standards. Even the Supreme Court sometimes does overrule itself in subsequent cases. So, I don't think we should overplay the significance of that. But I think that, having said that, Shehu, I must again say that when those decisions were given by the tribunals and by the Court of Appeal, you saw the very reckless, irresponsible attack that, was unleashed by, some elements in the opposition, where they completely blasted these judges, called them corrupt, just ignored every decency in their critique of those decisions. Now today, the same court system, the Supreme Court reversed those judgments. I have not heard any of these people now, calling these courts to be anti-democratic, calling them to be, the most corrupt institutions in the world. You see, we cannot cherry pick. We can't pick decisions that actually come out in our favor and condemn the same courts when they rule against us. That is not the way democracy works. You see, we must show respect and deference to the courts. Whether you think they erred, there is a provision to appeal. Go to the appeal court and, canvass your case. Now, if, as was argued by the opposition, that the courts and the judges were all in APC's pockets, that APC had bought them off, how do you explain what happened at the Supreme Court? These are still judges. So, look, I think we need to all slow down.
If I may come in quickly.
Yes, please.
Yeah, just a moment. If people lose in the spirit of sportsmanship and they accept the laws based on the fact that this is fair and square, but when people lose, and in fact the Supreme Court questioned the legal thinking of the lower court, when there are established position of the Supreme Court or the law in relation to the position of the lower court, and the wondering of anybody who has a legal knowledge will be wondering, why exactly is the appeal court giving the judgment in that respect?
No,
why would there be such error in respect of the judgment given in favor of your party? Where will these kind of error come from when this is against the established position of the law? And when people start to question and query some of these issues, and that's where the suspicion comes from, whether or not your party, as a ruling party, has had his way or has maneuvered the court and gotten his way around some of these judgments.
No, Shehu, no, I don't think that there's any rationale or even reasonableness in that line of thinking. Every time a higher court upturns the decision of a lower court, that higher court has invariably interrogated and questioned the rationale for the lower court's decision. That is the nature of an appellate process. Because this higher court is vested with authority to undertake judicial review of the decision of the lower court. So anytime the higher court does not uphold a decision of the lower court, what it has done is exactly what you have said. It has questioned it. So there's nothing spectacular about the Supreme Court in these cases, or in a case we're discussing, actually questioning or raising issues. That is what it does. The Supreme Court simply will disagree with the lower court. That's a question. That's an interrogation. So but that is not to say that the lower court judges did anything that is untoward or that would have compromised their integrity. I think that to say that is to say that in all cases. It shouldn't just be limited to these cases, but I'm sure that nobody who has any understanding of the way the courts work will in fact hold that view, because that is what happens, and that's why they have a higher authority. And like I said, there are many lawyers today who, I'm a lawyer, I have my own viewpoints about some of the decisions that the Supreme Court gave, but I'm not going to sit here to canvass any kind of argument, because the Supreme Court has spoken. And which is why in my statement reacting to that, to the decisions, I said, look, the final court of the land has spoken. We accept the verdict, not because we necessarily agree with all the legal intricate arguments that were made, not because we agree, but we agree because that is the highest court of the land, and we must, and we are under duty to show respect for the decision of the Supreme Court, which is what our colleagues on the other side, on the other political divide, are not willing to do. They want to simply make a demand, it must be in our favor. If it's not, then the courts can go to hell. That is not the attitude, and it's not helping our democracy.
Where I'd like to anchor tonight is in a question relating directly to the plight of Nigerians. Millions of them that your party made promises to when you were seeking power. And the president, the leader of your party, had said he danced for it, he begged for it, he canvassed for it, he asked for it. But then if you ask the average person on the street, they will tell you their plight and how things are biting, the situation of things in the country is, and how biting the state of the economy is. Is your party thinking of an immediate measure? Look at the rate of the Naira to the dollar, and look at the rate of prices of commodity. We've entered into another year. One would be wondering if your party has a thinking that he needs to take some emergency decisions to alleviate the sufferings of the Nigerian people.
Sheung, there's no, there's no denying that the economic environment is rather tough. It is tough and has been tough for a very long time. It hasn't been easy for the ordinary person in our country for many, many years. It's not just under this administration. It's not just under the previous administration. It's been under the past administrations. Because quite frankly, we got here today because we generationally created the conditions that has put us in this predicament. And there are no quick fixes. Our party made promises quite all right. Our party and the leader of our party, the President of the Federal Republic, is working hard night and day to move us away from the current difficulties. Now, he has also made clear that some of the decisions he has made will have transient impact on a number of areas of our national life. And he has appealed, and we continue to appeal for Nigerians to understand that for us to get to where we need to be, we will need to go through some rough patches. That is what it is. And, again, when you say this, it's as if you're being defensive. And I'm not being defensive. My elementary understanding of economics instructs me that there are very few countries that have achieved, stability today who didn't go through, series of, twists and turns to get them to the place where they are more comfortable. We, the current generation, we are the ones who are called upon now to make the sacrifices. Because, I am certain that, in time, we are not going to remain like this. And by the way, Nigeria has been forecasted to be one of the, countries, if you fast forward to, say about, 30, 40, 50 years from now, we are forecasted to be one of the countries that would be right there, perhaps some of the fifth largest economies in this world. So, it is not hopeless. But again, on behalf of my party, I say to our people that we need to, continue to hold still and support this government, because I know that we will break and turn the corner in no distant future.
Felix Moka, APC National Publicity Secretary, I imagine that you probably also will be apologizing to Nigerians, millions of them who are suffering, and when you say that they should wait more, some of them are also asphyxiating already, suffocating, and when you tell them to wait more, they ask you, you want us to die in poverty and in hunger? No. Well, if that is your message from your party, that's okay.
No, Sheung, that's not my message. No, that's not my message. My message is one of hope, and that it is not hopeless. It is difficult. It will get better. That is my message, that it will get better.
All right. Well,
it will.
We're trusting. Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Moka, for your time tonight.